Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast, presents episode 724, Autumn Breaks in Shadows, recorded live on March 12th, 2020. Hello everyone, welcome to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. I am your host, Duststorm.
I'm your co-host, Godzilla T.
And we are back with another live show after being off last week, but hopefully you guys got to enjoy our little side recording we did with Ace last week. Kind of snuck that one in there because 343 decided to sneak the release of CE on PC. We'll talk a little bit more about that in detail with GT here. But we have a couple guests with us tonight. So joining us from the Project Autumn Project, or the community project. First off, we have Ichos, or Nate. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. How's it going?
Oh, well, thank you. And then we also have Iowa.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen, tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
We are looking forward to talking about your project here in a little bit. But first things first, as we normally do with Podtacular, we have our community update to go through, our own little side of things that we do throughout the week. Starting with Fraggin' Friday from last week, which I was out of town, which means GT, it's all yours.
Yay! Well, we played Halo 5.
Cool.
So we had a little different result in our polling this week. We jumped in, we played some Warzone customs. We actually kind of laid back on the Super Fiesta this time.
Okay.
We played more big team. Well, we played big team Super Fiesta, but we jumped into Warzone pretty quickly. And then lobby, we moved into doing some customs. We hadn't done that in a while, so everybody wanted to play some customs in Halo 5. So we had a lot of fun.
Good. Yeah, because the last few ones, you've been on MCC.
MCC, yeah. And I thought with the release of CE that people would want to play MCC, but apparently they wanted to play Halo 5.
We'll see what happens when Halo 2, Halo 3 start coming out. I have a feeling those will probably be the ones that kind of rekindle the PC voting results if it actually happens to be that way.
Yeah. And I found something new that I'm researching that I'll have to discuss to you about for co-streaming.
Okay.
So it's still in the research phase, but I think it's looking promising.
Okay. Very nice.
Unfortunately, it's currently waiting on a program to finish developing, so it might be a little bit.
Oh, like someone's actually gone out there and done or is like creating software to do what you're looking to do?
Well, no, I'm waiting on the next version of OBS.
Oh.
OBS is now, OBS 25 is now in beta, or late alpha, however you want to call it. And they have a new feature that is in the game, or in the program. I don't know if it's going to stay there, but it looks like it's going to stay there. And if it does, it looks promising to be able to do co-streams like we have been wanting to do.
Okay.
A low latency co-stream. So I've got to do some more digging into it. And of course, I got to wait for the official release on that before I can actually do some testing on that. But I'm looking into it.
All right. Very nice. Well, on Sunday, I did not do achievements because I was sick as a dog. I was in bed all day on Sunday. Really
I can't
sick.
tell. I can't tell at all that Dust was sick over the weekend.
You might hear it a little bit in the podcast recording tonight. It's been worse on the show before.
Yeah.
But yes. So I was sick. Just bedridden all day Sunday. I'm feeling a lot better now. Didn't have to go to the doctor or anything. I did call the doctor. They said just treat the symptoms, and that's all I've done. And pretty much all that's left right now is just some sinusy stuff, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's the one place I've been avoiding is the doctor's office because, that's where all the sick people are.
Yeah. So my primary care has basically said, if you're sick, don't come in, call the office, they'll diagnose your symptoms and tell you what to do next. So
Yeah.
I did that on Tuesday or Monday, gave them all my details. And then about 4 hours later, they called me back and said, just treat the symptoms. If you're getting better, great. Go on about your business. If you get worse, go to the ER.
Yeah.
I've been getting better. So it's all good.
Yeah, my wife had caught this year's strain of flu, and we took her. This was before the virus had taken over the world.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, what rock have you been under? But anyway, so we took her to the doctor. Of course, we took appropriate precautions. She put on a breathing mask and all that stuff to protect everybody else, and made sure that she cleaned her hands and everything if she had to blow her nose or anything. And
Iowa and Nate, are both of you guys in the States? The U.S.?
I'm in Canada, actually, but I actually just came back from Chicago. We played a string of shows. I'm in a French rock band, and we played a string of shows in Chicago. And we're supposed to go to New York over March break and play a string of shows. So we're a little nervous about that, but hopefully we don't catch anything.
Yeah.
And hopefully people show up.
Well, provided they don't ban gathering in more than, in groups of more than 100 or something like that.
They've already started doing that.
The last I heard, New York was going all the way down to like 500 or 250 people or something like that.
Maryland just went to 250 today.
Yeah.
That happened about 4 hours ago. I saw another state, I think it was Ohio, just implemented 100.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's getting out of control a little bit.
I mean, I get it. It is a dangerous bug to get.
Oh,
and
sure.
if it approaches the numbers that the common flu gets to, it could be a really bad thing. Unfortunately, it's put a damper on a lot of things, and I feel for anybody that has contracted it. I'm sorry that you're having to go through it, but a lot of this could just be fixed by people just washing your hands, man.
Yep. Washing your hands, not
just
touching your face
soap
out in
and
public.
water. Soap and water.
Yep. And hand sanitizer.
My wife works for a drugstore, and they have been out of breathing or masks and hand sanitizer for weeks now. They're running out of alcohol because people are making their own hand sanitizer because you can't get any.
Interesting. Very interesting.
When something as simple as just soap and water can take care of that.
Soap and water. Make a song.
Yeah. I mean, if you need to touch a part of your body that requires clean hands and you can't get to soap and water, I can understand that. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Let's move on. So no achievements from this past Sunday. We do look to do some more achievements this coming Sunday. So we'll be back on the Halo Wars 2 grind. For Machinima Monday, we have the Forgotten Spartans. This one is a machinima from back in the Halo Reach days of machinima. And this harkens back to, Halo 3 days of machinima. Not Halo Reach.
I remember this one.
Yeah. So every once in a while, I like to go back into the archives, find some machinimas that either were really nostalgic for me or ones that I have heard of but I've never watched. So this is one of the ones that I had heard of but I hadn't actually watched. So because of my recent travels and because I'm having to work from home for the next 2 weeks, I have a lot of time to have videos on in the background. So I've been watching a lot of machinima lately while I've been working.
You're not working at home? You're watching videos? Shame.
No, I have them going while I'm working.
Sure.
But this one is a 2.5 hour compilation of all the different episodes that kind of make up this one film. It was released by a fake Films. I think that's how you say the word. It was originally released on Machinima.com, and then they reposted it on their YouTube. So this is a very good watch if you have 2.5 hours to kill. And the synopsis reads from the very first episode: 6 months ago, Spartan Squad Omega were left on a newly discovered Halo ring. They are searching for a Hornet that was left behind whilst trying to uncover the mystery of their abandonment. And one of the nice things about this is it kind of plays on the end of Halo 3, and they basically kind of took the Halo story further. So if you kind of imagine Halo 3 was there and you didn't have Halo Reach, Halo 4, all the other ones, kind of taking that story element and moving it along, this is kind of their interpretation of it. So it's a good watch.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend checking
Sounds like it.
And then I didn't put a streamer showcase because I forgot, and I was traveling back from my work trip and got distracted with other things. So unfortunately forgot about doing that. So there'll be another one this weekend. As far as company commendations go, we are still working on that Achilles helmet. Still will for a while. On the killing an opponent that I shot you first, we still have a little over 1,000 on that one to go. We have 1,022 of that to go. For assassinations, we have just under 400. And then for the last two, which is killing Marines, we still have over 30,000 to go there. And then shoulder bash kills, we have 1,577 out of 9,700. So still plenty more to go from there. And then from the Tales from the Foxhole, we have a little channel on our Discord. We actually have a new one for this week. This one is posted by Bobby. This is a video on Twitter, which I think was just a post from Game DVR. I think it was a custom that he was playing with Keys, and it was either him or Keys that ended up shooting rockets, and I think Keys was probably the one with had a Prophet's Bane, and he killed Bobby who had rockets, and the rockets were auto target. So by the time the rockets came back around, actually this is apparently okay. I'm watching the video now. Keys killed Speg, and then apparently Keys was invisible with Prophet's Bane. Bobby shot rockets up into the air, and then apparently he spotted Keys at some point, and it's the 3 rockets that you can target with the laser. So you just see Keys watching rockets, and then all of a sudden the rockets make a dead line curve straight down towards him and kills Keys. So it's a little interesting video over there. So thanks again, Bobby, for posting that. Again, we have a little Tales from the Foxhole channel over on the Discord. So if you have a little fun clip or Halo story you want to share, then go ahead and drop it in that channel over there. All right. Since we have some guests on the show, let's go ahead and do our little interviews. So Nate in Iowa, we have a couple of questions we ask our guests whenever we have some new folks on. So hopefully you guys are ready. They're 2 simple ones, but important ones nonetheless. There are no wrong answers. No, it's all good. So the first question that we have, and we'll go ahead and start this first question off with Iowa, is how did you first get involved with Halo?
With Halo in general?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That goes back to when I was around 4 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah, Halo 2 was one of the first video games I ever played.
As a 4-year-old?
Yeah. One day my uncle came home with an original Xbox and a copy of Halo 2. And I was like, what's that? And then he showed it to me and I was hooked. One of my first worldly memories is actually the cutscene where Arbiter gets the Mark of Shame branded on his chest. And, playing off the fact that that's one of the first things I actually remember ever, I actually got that tattooed on my chest.
Oh.
Wow.
Halo's always been in my life. Always.
Well, so I have to ask, is it dead on your chest, or is it in on one side, over your heart, or the other?
It's sort of in between the middle and my heart,
Okay. Slightly off to the side type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a particular, is it supposed to be the mark from the game, or is it just supposed to be something similar?
No, it is the mark from the game.
Okay. That's actually really cool.
I also use it as my emblem in MCC, like always. So
Very cool. That's awesome. Have you posted that anywhere or done the Halo Spotlight for it to be featured on the Community Spotlight?
No, I've just shown a couple friends.
Well, if you're willing to share, I think some people would be interested in seeing it.
All right, yeah.
So
I'll consider that.
just an idea. Cool. That's really neat. So Halo 2 is your first one.
Yes.
Very nice. Nate, how about you? How did you get your start into Halo?
Well, I wish I could say I was an OG like Iowa, but unfortunately, I was late to the party. I started with Halo Reach, and I just completely fell in love with that game. Everything about like the story and just the missions and just the power fantasy of being a Spartan just hooked me immediately. And I've been a Halo fan ever since, just absolutely diehard.
Cool. Have you gone back and played the previous games?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm always. I'd actually a couple months ago, I actually went back and played all the games again, just to get some inspiration for Project Autumn and the music and stuff like that. And it's amazing how well those games still hold up. Like even Combat Evolved that just got released on PC, that game holds up incredibly well. It's such an amazing game, even almost 20 years later, man. It's crazy to think how long ago it was released. But yeah, all the Halo games are just a ton of fun to play, and all of them are super special to me.
Good. And then we normally ask people, what do you do within kind of the Halo community? But since you're here talking about Project Autumn, we'll get to that in a little bit. Tell us a little bit about other Halo hobbies, maybe outside of Project Autumn, that you might have or that might be of interest to you, like other aspects of the community, or is campaign important to you, Forge, that kind of stuff. And we'll start this one off with Nate this time.
So I'm actually a really big fan of Halo esports. That's a side of Halo that I absolutely adore. I watch it just as much as I would watch the NHL or the NFL or something like that. To me, it's another sports league that I keep tabs on.
Good.
Other than that, I obviously, for obvious reasons, I listen to Halo soundtracks 24/7 pretty much while studying and doing schoolwork, because how can you not love the Halo music?
I mean, we're pretty biased to it here. Okay, very nice. Iowa, how about yourself?
Well, I mean, aside from playing Halo almost every day, I watch Red versus Blue almost every day. And yeah, like Nate, I listen to the Halo soundtrack, while I work on anything really. Project Autumn isn't the only game I'm really working on right now, but no matter which one I'm working on at the moment, I listen to, the Halo. It just gets me in the creative mood. I can't think about Halo and not, get some sort of idea in my head.
Very nice. Halo is very inspirational to a lot of people within this community. Hence why we're all here. And then kind of the follow-up to that question, what is it about the Halo community that keeps you coming back to Halo? Anyone can start off with this one. Jump in.
For me, I think it's just the sense of familiarity. From one Halo fan to another, you definitely can relate to a lot of memories and themes and stuff. Just, I don't know, it's familiar. It's home.
Okay. So it's just kind of your comfort zone and...
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Gotcha. Then what about you, Nate?
I think for me, the thing that keeps me coming back is definitely just the camaraderie, the friendships that you build. I can't even describe how many friends that I've made online through playing Halo. And it's kind of crazy to think about, this silly little video game that we all love has brought so many people together.
Yeah. And
all the crazy people, all the crazy talented people that I've met, fellow artists, fellow composers, my I don't know, coworkers is the right word, but the people with me on the dev team and the Project Autumn server and other Halo fan games, just so many talented people, so many kind and friendly people out there. And they're the kind of people that keep me coming back, because it's always fun to hop on Halo and play a couple games with your buddies.
Very nice. Well, thank you guys for being on the show. We have a couple of news things to go through, but we will get to the interview here in just a little bit. So for those listening, stay tuned. We'll get to that in just a second. But now it's over to GT's turn as we look through this week's matchmaking updates. Starting with Halo 5, what do we got in the rotation this week?
Well, for this weekend, we've got Castle Wars rotating in for H2 BR Slayer, and Warzone Assault goes live. Next weekend, we will move to Triple Team in place of Castle Wars. Then on the 26th, Core Play rotates in for Triple Team, and to round out the month, Warzone Turbo goes live.
It's Turbo time.
Dust's favorite favorite playlist that he never plays.
I didn't play it last month, I will admit. But the months prior to that, I have played it.
Yeah.
Yes, I have played it.
Looks like on MCC, Griffball will rotate in for Halo 2, rotates in Halo Reach, Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 3, and Halo 4, which Halo Reach CE Anniversary rotates out. In Social 4v4, they added the Classic Court Aurora, Aurora? Whatever.
Aurora, I think, yeah.
Aurora and Impact Arena to the Halo Reach Griffball. Close range weapons have been added on CE Auto Slayer for Damnation and Prisoner. They removed CE Auto Slayer from Rat Race. Okay.
Yep. And then Griffball is going to be in rotation every month for the second week of each month.
Cool.
So we've got 2 new articles to talk about this week. First one is Canon Fodder, which we haven't seen in a long time. The one.
What is this fodder of Canon that you speak of?
It's this little thing that Grim does every once in a while. It's just a wall of text that he likes to ramble on and dump his superior Halo knowledge and make us all look inferior and all that fun stuff. I'm just kidding. But this is issue 107, and the main announcement that is in this this Canon Fodder is we have a new book coming.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually, this book kind of dictates the rest of the books that we're going to read in the order in which we're going to read them from here on out, because of me having complete a couple of books recently.
Yeah, he's actually reading, people.
Yeah.
And he's actually got 2 books completed at the same time.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
one book and then 6 months later, another book.
We're actually going to be caught up by the time Infinite comes out. So the book is called Halo Shadows of Reach. And I'm going to read the description, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. October 2559. It has been a year since the renegade artificial intelligence Cortana issued a galaxy-wide ultimatum, subjecting many worlds to martial law under the indomitable grip of her Forerunner weapons. Outside her view, the members of Blue Team, John 117, the Master Chief, Fred 104, Kelly 087, and Linda 058 are assigned from the UNSC Infinity to make a covert insertion onto the ravaged planet Reach. Their former home and training ground, and the site of humanity's most cataclysmic military defeat near the end of the Covenant War, Reach still hides a myriad of secrets after all these years. Blue Team's mission is to penetrate the rubble-filled depths of Castle Base and recover top-secret assets locked away in Dr. Catherine Halsey's abandoned laboratory, assets which may prove to be humanity's last hope against Cortana. But Reach has been invaded by a powerful and ruthless alien faction who have their own reasons for being there, establishing themselves as a vicious, occupying force on the devastated planet. This enemy will soon transform Blue Team's simple retrieval operation into a full-blown crisis. And with the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance, mission failure is not an option.
When is it ever an option for a Spartan?
It never
Anyway.
is. That's why you send Spartans in.
The out of that whole page, the one line that really piqued my interest was invaded by a powerful and ruthless alien faction.
Yep.
This has got like alien? Because I would think as if it was Sangeli or Kigyar or Brute or the Banished, they would say something like that. Not alien. So
Maybe. Erikibu has a point, though. They might not want to disclose which one it is.
but it could be. But still.
The running theory from all the lore YouTube videos and Twitter and whatnot is the Banished. That's the running theory.
See, I don't know. I don't know that they're going to pull a Banished out of the Halo Wars series, though. Because currently, Atriox is tied up on the Ark fighting against the Spirit of Autumn crew.
Spirit of Fire.
Or Spirit of Fire. Sorry. Spirit of Fire crew.
Well, this is a year after, which a lot could change. And
Yes.
you're right, it could not be the Banished. There was another elite faction that both Hidden Xperia and Halo Canon mentioned in their videos.
True. There is.
That was elite led, which that's I don't recognize the names as much, but yeah, it could be, like you said, it could be a completely different enemy type.
Yeah. It just got me interested. It's interesting.
Yeah.
What they actually mean by that particular phrase.
Invaded by a powerful and ruthless alien faction.
It's the Yon Hat.
I mean, as far as we know, and like this is the whole Cortana proclamation of the sentient beings in the galaxy. We've kind of gone through all of them, which is pretty much.
Well, when she did her speech, she mentioned all the alien species that we know about.
But if she's in the domain, she would probably know of if there were other species within the galaxy.
Maybe.
I guess that's an assumption that shouldn't necessarily be an assumption. Oh, Erikibu says she didn't mention everybody. Who did she not mention? I know she didn't mention like the Yanmei and the Meligolo because I don't think they count.
But yeah, they didn't. She didn't mention the Let Golo.
Or the Yanmei. Because
I thought she mentioned the Yanmei.
there was the Legolo, and there was some other race or faction that wasn't mentioned, and I think it's because they're not like high enough order or something like that. And I think the Legolo weren't counted because they're a hive mind type of thing, like it's a colony of worms to make up. And then I think the Yanmei are like similar with the hive mind thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I'll have to listen to it again.
Well, both Hidden Xperia and Halo Canon had videos on it, and Hidden Xperia seems pretty convinced it's the Banished. Halo Canon is not as sure. That was one of his options, but he had a couple other ideas going around his head as well. But people cannot stop comparing the cover of this book to the cover of The Fall of Reach.
Mm-hmm. Because
they're direct parallels.
The same place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're direct parallels with each other.
And I'm sure it was done on purpose.
Yeah. The weapons are the same. Their positions are the same. Like, Kelly and Linda are holding their same weapons, although instead of just regular sniper and shotgun, it's the Nornfang and the Oathsworn. Master Chief has his AR. Fred has an AR. They're all rocking
except
new armor.
for it looks like the Eat Reach AR.
Yeah, it does.
So that would be different. But I'm sure it was done on purpose.
And little hint, if you click on the book cover in the article for the Canon Fodder, you get a bigger picture. You get a little wider picture of the background. And you see several serifs.
Yeah. was going to say it has what looks like serifs in the background.
Mm-hmm. There's 5 serifs, and the color on here, actually 6, and the color on here is really cool. Like the kind of gives you that Halo 3 color contrast with the gold and blue.
Yeah.
A little bit. Lots of callbacks there. So there's lots of speculation with this right now. And since this takes place a year after the events of Halo 5, it definitely seems like there's going to be a lot of influence with this into Halo Infinite. And then the other things that people have been talking about too is what are they on reach to get? And people have been speculating, well, if you have read the Halsey Journal, which I've flipped through it, haven't read to digest it yet, but I have flipped through it. But she mentions that there are more flash clone brains that are in her lab that she was saving for other things. So maybe that's where we get our source Cortana for Halo Infinite, or like the whole like new chip thing and the Cortana from the other audio type thing.
Could be.
So there's
she
that.
Could make another Cortana.
There's also like the other foreigner artifacts and like the crystal shards, like the one thing that Cortana used to actually navigate to Halo, like some of the foreigner data. So that could be another thing, is they're looking for some more foreigner tech that Halsey discovered and researched. So there's a treasure trove of things that could be on reach.
Well, they could be, also going down into the Forerunner base that was in Mankite Mountain, under Castle Base.
Yeah, that too. There's a lot of possibilities.
True.
And we'll have to wait till September 22nd to find out.
So it kind of makes me wonder where they're going to release Infinite.
Well, definitely after, if it's holiday 2020.
Yeah.
Because holiday 2020 means usually after Thanksgiving and before Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they're going to release it early November or late November. Because they have done early November before.
Fair point. November at the earliest, regardless, probably. That was a whole string of something. Is November 17th actually a Tuesday? Oh, it is a Tuesday. That would be interesting.
That would be an interesting day to launch it.
Has Airkeebu just sleuthed out the release date for the Xbox Series X and Halo? I'm gonna have to remember this. If it actually comes out, Airkeebu, I'm gonna have to call this out. Someone remind me. In not 8 months. 8 months. Okay, moving on. Oh, one other thing before we move on. Actually, sorry. Troy Denning did actually mention on his Twitter that you will not need to read this book in order to understand what's going on in Halo Infinite, although I would assume that your experience would be enhanced if you were able to read this book beforehand. Apparently, it's not required reading, but for all of us lore nerds out there, it's probably going to be worthwhile to read it.
And that's exactly how it should be.
Yes.
It should enhance the experience, but not be required to enjoy the experience.
Hey, now, Eric Yabu,
I'm happy to hear that.
Reading it. Hang on. No, don't you do that. I'm getting caught up. Thank you very much. I'm only 4 books behind now.
Will he be caught up by the time Infinite launches?
Yes.
That's yet to be seen.
I will be. Watch me. Don't stop me now. Because I'm having a good time. Anyways, moving on. We've got another Halo community spotlight thanks to Snickerdoodle, who actually released it this morning. So got plenty of time to actually look over this.
Amazingly enough.
Yeah. So we've got our top picks again. We're kind of changing it up. We're going with our top favorites for each one of the sections that we have, or kind of picking our top ones. I couldn't stick with the top 5, and unfortunately I have to redo my stream setup here to show the screen again because I actually swapped out a monitor, so I'll get it set up for next time. But go over and check out the spotlight if you want to go see everything there. But my top picks, actually, let's start off with your top picks, GT, because you only had 3, and I think I had 9, and I think 2 of yours were the same as mine. So let's start with yours. Your first one was the Doom poster.
Yeah, the Doom poster. Halo X Doom by Graham Fisher.
Yep.
And then we had a pencil drawing of Blue Team by Wishful.
Oh, actually, this is set up. I'm going to switch scenes real quick because this is set up actually somehow.
Somehow?
Yeah.
Is it set up correctly?
Yes. I guess I actually changed it when I changed the monitor, like I was supposed to. All right, so here's the Doom poster. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit.
Imagine that. You did it right.
Actually, did something right for once. So yeah, here's the Doom poster.
Yes, Miss Fluffy, I know you're here. Go away.
That's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do.
Sorry. And then we have, like I said, the pencil drawing of Blue Team by Wishful.
Yeah, that was another one of my favorites too.
And I don't know how they did this particular piece of art. I don't know if this is, they were using like a white pencil on a black background or what.
It could be chalk.
It could be chalk too. It looks really cool. But it's Were It So Easy by Jalyard 2010.
Yeah. $2010. Yep. On Reddit.
Honestly, I'm sorry if I mispronounce any of these.
Half of these names are probably going to be interesting to pronounce anyways.
But yeah, those are I have a lot more of them that I really enjoyed, but I tried to keep it limited to just a few.
Yeah, I had 9, which is
But
now 7.
All in all, it's all high quality work that she's got on the spotlight. Highly recommend that you go check it out.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then the other ones that I had marked as favorites for me, one of the very first ones up here is the Dropships on Approach by Turtle Salad 711.
Throwback to Halo CE.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
The next one here is Hell to Repel by Rookie 425. Next one for me is Sierra 117 by Boy Garvin. This is Chief on a ammo box, and it has a bunch of other kind of set pieces behind it, like a turret, warthog, crates, weapons on the ground, that kind of stuff. Next one is a actual figure picture, and I think maybe some custom skulls with this one. I'm not sure if these are custom or not, but it's called 10 Seconds Remaining. This one's by Asylum Prophet.
Headhunter.
Yep. He's carrying 5 skulls. I thought this was...
That was one of them that I kind of figured you'd pick, so I left it off my list.
Yeah. I just like the concept of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the one right below it, Assassination by More Shots 1. Just the visceral, almost lifelike visuals to that is just incredible.
Yeah.
Next one for me was Modder by Nuvelos, and I'm wondering where that screenshot's from for it to be a screenshot. Like, what map has monitors flying around where you can have a guilty spark? And that kind of
the guilty spark could be from Forge.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. But where is there sentinels in Forge?
I don't know.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I think honestly don't know.
Custom sentinels. There aren't custom sentinels.
It also could have been shot with a green screen too. It could be a composite.
I guess, but if they're screenshots, I would assume that they're unedited.
Yeah.
I would assume, at least. Then I also like the one here. This is actually from Forza Horizon 4. And there's a part in there where you have a Warthog run. And this is where you have the Pelican in the background, and there's a Banshee in there, too.
Mm-hmm.
The screenshot from Forza is actually, that's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
So those are my other picks that GT Knight did not share. Nate and Iowa, I know you guys have been quiet. Did you guys have a chance to look over the spotlight, and do you have any favorites that you've been able to look through or find?
The Arbiter one that you guys pointed out, that one is absolutely insane.
The chalk looking one?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how they did it too. But that one's just ridiculous, man. Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of really talented people in this community.
Oh, I know. It's crazy. I love the Halo community spotlight. I think it's one of the coolest things that we have, just because we get to see so many talented people and all their artwork and abilities.
Yeah, it's really cool. We used to actually go through the whole thing, and because there's so much now, we just decide to pick our top ones and go through that and tell people, hey, if you want to see anything else, just go check it out over there.
Well, looking at it in a stream format does the artist no justice. I mean,
Yeah.
you need to be looking at this on your own monitor, not through a screen, to really see the quality of these shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was the update, and that's all the official stuff that we have for as far as Waypoint articles go for this week. On the other side of things, we have a couple new tweets from Halo. We have 5 new today in Halos. You want to take those, GT? Or do you want me to take those?
Sure. March 5th, 2511. Chief Warrant Officer George 052 is born on the heck? Plaza? Reach.
Palhaza,
I
guess.
Poison.
Virus?
He will go on to become a Spartan 2 specializing in heavy weaponry. Because of his talents and bravery, he is assigned to the Spartan 3 team known as Noble Team. 7th of March, 2511, on the planet Eridanus 2, the legendary Spartan 2, John 117, better known as the Master Chief, was born. Oh,
George is older than Chief by 2 days.
By 2 days. 11th of March, 2523, Warrant Officer Emil A239 is born on Eridanus 2. Oh, didn't realize they were both from the same system.
The same planet?
No, different planet.
No, both Eridanus 2.
Oh, sorry, same planet, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking at Spartan 3 and it was throwing me off. After his conscription into the Spartan 3 program, he becomes a close quarters specialist and eventually joins Noble Team.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah. Also, another note, there will be no social streams for the foreseeable future because most of the folks at 343 are working from home because of said earlier virus.
By the virus.
The virus.
It's not the other thing. It's the virus now. Because we don't want to be demonetized.
Yeah.
Not that we're monetized, but anyway.
Exactly. On to some community highlights.
Wish I could work from home.
We've got HCS Pro Talk episode 117 out. They recorded this yesterday. Or 2 days ago? Yesterday? No, 2 days ago. Competitive Halo and Content Creation is the title of this one. It's on their YouTube channel and their podcast feed, so go check them out. On the Podcast Evolve side, we've got episode 203, Infinite the Flood. And then we also have Mission Debrief episode number 88, which is Halo Wars, Anders Signal. On Finish the Fight podcast, they just released their next one today, episode 27. And it is on the book Cryptum. So they're really diving into that Forerunner trilogy now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, it's a doozy. For Halo Outreach podcast, they have their 30th episode and 31st episode out from the last time that we just added them, but from the last time we recorded, they released 2 episodes. Episode 30 is their CE anniversary release and DreamHack Anaheim review. And then for episode 31, some Halo news, MCC, CE, Xbox updates, and must-know CE tips and tricks. On the Play Griffball side of things, they have a couple of wrap-up articles for the Winter League on console and the Winter League on PC. For the Winter League on console, for Vanilla Griffball, Predatory wins the championship in a clean sweep, two games of 5-0-5-0. And then for the Dash champions, Way to Fail won their championship games. First game 5-0, second game 5-2. On the PC season, the Thundercats won the AGLA Reach season, and the signups for the next season are now available for the PC side of things. Signups for the Xbox League are not up yet, but they will be coming. There's a couple changes coming to AGLA on the console side as well. They're actually incorporating all games into separate series for the season. So within MCC, you're going to have a series of Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 3, Halo Reach, and Halo 4, and Halo 5. Sorry. And then each one of those series contributes to the larger season. And both of these are the summer seasons. Signups for the Halo 5 series, which is going to be the first series of the season, starts on March 18th. Over on the community musing sides of things, we've got some of our recurring posts. Over from Halopedia, we'll start with them. We've got our Lore Thursday from last week, since we didn't have a chance to cover that from last week. What do we got, GT?
Last week's Lore Thursday, the Tactical Autonomous Robot Defense System was a failed early attempt by Acheron's Security to create an autonomous combat drone. The system was tested in an industrial zone 08 of Chicago on Earth. Oh, really? Huh.
Foundation, for those that need a translation. Foundation was supposedly one of those test sites. Yeah. For
Trivia Tuesday, did you know that on May 30th, 2012, the ISA Publishing House released a polished edition of the Halo The Fall of Reach? This version of the novel had its own unique cover art exclusive to this edition. Ooh, I did not know that.
I did not know this either.
I wonder if you could even still find one of those.
I don't know.
That's weird. Anyway, and for this week, Lore Thursday, soft seal technology is a type of equipment developed by the UNSC during the insurrection to facilitate boarding actions. Interesting.
Yeah. So there you go.
That they waited that long to develop it.
They didn't.
That's a staple in every sci-fi series out there.
I guess you didn't need too many boarding actions other than just normal, just like ports and whatnot. So I don't know.
I don't either. And I don't claim to either.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got Know Your Halo. Today we have this UNSC outpost established on the Ark in 2557 was named after a researcher who died there 2 years prior. Options are ONIRF Trevelyan, Henry Lamb Outpost, Castle Base, Noah's Animal Laboratory. Get it? The Ark.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Anyways.
Okay, Dust, it wasn't that funny.
I thought it was funny.
It wasn't choke me up funny.
Anyways, so you can head on over to Podcast Evolve's Twitter every day. They've got a new one up pretty much every day. I think the weekends they kind of take a break. But yeah, they had a rapid fire of them on March 7th for the release of CE as well. So yeah, good stuff. They didn't post a Halo Hump Day, so we'll see if they bring that back next week.
We'll see.
On the birthday sides of things, it is Covey Cannon's birthday today. So happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
He turned 24 today.
To be 20s again.
Yep. I'm 2 years past that. 31.
Hell, you could turn it around backwards, and I'd go for that too.
Fair enough. On the YouTube,
His, not yours.
no, I was thinking yours. Let's see. For the YouTube content that we have this week, we've got a couple of new ones from a lot of different people. We mentioned already that Halo Canon and Hidden Xperia had some about the new book that was announced in the Canon Fodder. Hidden Xperia also has one about Halo 5 Mythic Arena being a possible beta for Halo Infinite, which would make
God,
sense.
I hope not.
Trying some limited mechanics within Halo 5 to see how people take it wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea.
Well, the problem is, and he actually mentions this in his video,
Yeah.
the weapons in Halo 5 aren't designed to work with these
Settings.
movement restrictions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
It's frustrating.
everything's just way too easy.
Yep. It's one of those things that you only can do so much within the current confines of the engine.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's a good watch. He does bring up a lot of good points, like the one that GT mentioned, how it's the weapons are meant to account for some of that advanced mobility.
Mm-hmm.
Installation 01 has been really busy.
Yeah, no kidding.
He has a video out about the flood containment breach, a new series for Halsey's journal. And Halsey's actually voiced by CXE Fox on Twitter. She does a very good Halsey impersonation.
Yeah.
The 4th installment of Project John 117. The 17th installment of The Armory, which is featuring the Energy Sword. And then a 50-minute detailed breakdown of Mjolnir Gen 2 armor. I have not watched that one yet, but I look forward to it. Ultimate Halo has a couple of videos. This first one is Fighting the Guardians in Halo Infinite, and the second one is Halo Infinite Sky and Spaceship Battles. Kind of a wish list of things that he would like to see in Infinite. General Kid has 7 new videos. Lots of crazy stuff that he keeps coming up with. He kind of goes back and forth between like revealing things that are new in releases versus like things that were old in the game. Like one of the videos is the secret space jellyfish or the space blimps in Halo 2. Like there's some really obscure dev references that he gets, and then he goes and researches them and figures out how to either recode them into the game or just kind of examine the possibility of them, that kind of thing.
Or digs them out of the code in the game.
Right.
It's like I was watching a video today that hidden in the tip of the spear mission in the coding, someone has found unused audio files. And apparently on tip of the spear, there's supposed to be a scarab battle.
Yes. I did hear that.
I actually watched that video today, or I watched one of the videos. There's been multiples of them, but that's interesting.
There's a lot of people, or a lot of things people are finding now that some of the Xbox source code is being released on PC. So because of it being a little more unrestricted with the Steam versions, people are finding a lot of interesting things in the game.
I find it truly amazing how much stuff programmers leave in the code.
We're going to see so much stuff in Halo 2. Probably some stuff we don't even know about.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole like mystery of the Switch type stuff, we'll get probably just more confirmation that, yeah, that stuff is just not really anything. But yeah, it is crazy how much stuff is just left over and not cleaned up after compilation. That's always boggled me. Because whenever I've coded, I've always tried to clean up old code.
Well, I'm sure they did to a point, but, you know, when you, like with Halo 2, when you go through and you basically do a whole rewrite, then...
I mean, there's a whole disk-based issue back in the day, too.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, you just put all in the day one patch.
It may not... Well, with Halo 2, they had that ability to download information.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it could be... it was just information that wasn't... It may not have actually been on the Halo 2 disk. Because, you know, 343 is actually working with the original dev files, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're not working off a hacked copy of Halo 2 from Xbox.
Yeah, they're working with the actual source code.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Kevin Cool X has a couple of videos that he's posted. First one is everything you need to know about Halo CE. This was after CE was released on PC. 8 tips and tricks for CE, and then the big update that came to Xbox and everything that was pertaining to that 60 gig update that everyone was gasping about. Patman Gaming also has a couple of, or 3 videos actually. First one is CE Anniversary, PC News, and kind of going over the February development update, the launch for CE on PC, and then a wish list for Halo Infinite. And then the title is Halo 6 Battle Royale and Customization. The Halo Codex has been busy uploading as well. And a couple of notable video clips is a couple of Robot Chicken shorts. I'm sure most of us have probably seen these already, but in case you haven't, the first one is of Chief looking for a needler. And the second one is Fireteam Osiris and Blue Team basically talking smack to one another. And they pull off the whole trope of Chief removing his helmet and there's a helmet underneath it from Halo CE. Eckhart's Ladder, we had him on the show once before, so he actually has another Halo video out there. And this one's titled Halo's art style under 343 has been bad, the controversy and why it's important now. He goes a lot into detail about the difference in kind of the simplistic designs of the Bungie era Halos, some of the stuff with the Forerunner architecture types and the UNSC kind of simplicity, and how Halo 4 and 5, in his opinion, has kind of just taken a lot of the sci-fi tropes of adding all these curves and weird shapes and highlights and lights and all that stuff. So, again, it's an opinion piece, but go on over and check it out. Defend the House has their Volume 1 of Halo CE Mythbusters. And by that, it is 3 myths that they confirm and then just shenanigans.
I have to admit, they have... Sometimes they have way too much fun. They were actually showing... they put up a behind-the-scenes look at them working on the tank ricochet shot.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much time they put into some of that stuff.
And just trying to get it, too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that the bounces were that unpredictable until watching that video.
Yeah.
Team Respawn has a couple of videos. Their first one is The Heroes of Halo Wars. So this is a little overview of the different hero units within Halo Wars, the original. So they talk about Spartan Jerome, Captain Cutter, Serena, the AI, Forge, and Professor Anders. It kind of gives a little bit of their backstory, where they were born, their upbringing, kind of all that. So it's a nice little kind of overview of the different kind of hero units in Halo Wars. And then they have little multiplayer gameplay videos that they upload typically once a week. And this is just of an accidental base self-destruction in the middle of the match. Big oopsies.
Nice.
Big oopsies. And that's all the community musings and highlights that we have for the week. More to discuss next week. All right, so now for our main topic of the show, we have, again, the guys from Project Autumn. We have Nate and Iowa on here to talk about the project and maybe glean a little more information than the trailer that we got last year, and then just the simple description that we have. As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but you don't have a website or a subreddit or anything. It's mostly your Discord server at the moment, right?
Yeah, that is right.
Okay, so give us a little bit of a rundown of what Project Autumn actually is.
All right. So, at its core, Project Autumn is simply paying homage to the golden days of Halo, I feel. Not necessarily a particular Halo, but just Halo in general, at the time where really everyone was around for it.
Third time's a charm.
So yeah, it is multiplayer focused, where planning on having, a couple different modes, but one of the main draws, one of the first ideas that we had out for it was Battle Royale mode, which is something I feel like a lot of people don't really want to touch in terms of, developing. I've always felt like, we could be the ones who could pull it off correctly. I've had a lot of people say that they're interested to see where it goes, in a Halo setting. I've seen a couple YouTube videos, saying how that it could be a pretty good idea, Battle Royale in a Halo game. But not only that, we do have, the regular multiplayer. I don't think we've ever actually officially confirmed this. I think we might have before, but we do plan to release other modes as time goes on. So initially, the game is going to drop with its core features, but in sort of post-launch content updates, we plan to add stuff like Firefight, possibly a reimagined Warzone mode, and a Spartan Ops-like campaign that you can play with friends and stuff.
That's ambitious.
It is. It is very ambitious, and that is one of the hardest things about it, finding people who think, we can actually pull it off. But we're sort of proving all the naysayers wrong, because the people who do stick around, we're really seeing some progress right now.
Oh, sorry. If I could add on to what I was saying, what's cool about Project Autumn is that we plan to have all of the features, all the core tenets of a Halo game. So we're going to have that classic multiplayer, that arena 4v4 experience that everybody loves, BTB that everyone loves, all that good stuff. And then plus we have that Battle Royale mode, which is kind of our little draw in, because I feel like a lot of people are kind of scared to kind of experiment with it within Halo Sandbox. But at the same time, though, there's a lot of people out there who are like, yeah, Battle Royale in Halo? Dude, why is no one doing this?
I'm one of those people that would appreciate about a Halo Battle Royale mode.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there, I think, that would appreciate that. And so I think we're doing, and I think that's a big reason why we're doing this, is because we want to capitalize on that opportunity. Because I think there's a lot of people out there who are, like I said, they're afraid to touch it. So they just kind of play it safe, right? Whereas I think what was really a big drawing point for me when I joined Project Autumn is the fact that Project Autumn isn't really playing it safe. They're taking that risk and they're going out and they're having the guts to make this Battle Royale mode, to have a unique and distinctive art style while staying faithful to the original Halo art style, kind of have their own thing, their own musical sound. And I think that's what kind of separates us from the rest of the Halo fan games, is that we're not afraid to try different things, because we have that freedom as a Halo fan game and not as an official title. We have that freedom to explore all of the realms of possibility within the Halo universe and within the gameplay aspects and the story and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what Nate said. Something that someone has asked me before, and I thought was a pretty good question, was, is Project Autumn what I want for official Halo? And the answer is no.
Okay.
I would be very disappointed if Project Autumn in some alternate reality was, an official game and I wasn't the one working on it. I'd be like, what is this? But like Nate said, being in the position we're in, we can take these risks. We can try different things. And we certainly are not afraid to try different things. We try to avoid the norm as much as possible. Okay. But we, staying within, what we're comfortable with. One thing that we really try to, always keep on our mind is that this is a Halo fan game. It's Halo first and everything else after.
Okay. So you're trying to get the core tenets of what makes a Halo game, and then go on to add your own personal touches to things like a Battle Royale mode. You're kind of re-envision Warzone, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And even our art style is a little different. I don't think we've actually, we have with the most recent recruitment trailer we've shown off, but we do have a very different visual style. something similar to Borderlands, where it's sort of cell shaded, sort of comic booky, just a fun look. It's fun. I never really agreed with the newer Halos being all dark, and sci-fi, gritty, and stuff like that. Even Halo Reach, my interest in like the theme started to taper off a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like that's really what everyone pushes for nowadays. If you ask any Halo fan, definitely, well, I mean, most Halo fans will definitely say, like, yeah, we like the more Reach style, down to earth, gritty sort of style. But I've always been more of a fan of, like, the more stylized, cartoony, like Halo 1 and 2.
Okay. I think I get what you're saying as far as, like, the appearance isn't quite as, like, over realistic or hyper realistic as like Halo 4 and Halo 5. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I'm bad with words, but yeah, that's essentially what I'm trying to get at.
Okay. And yeah, I did notice the whole cell shading in your most recent recruitment trailers and I know that's something pretty different to Halo. What's making you kind of choose that style?
Well, I don't want to mention names because they've since stepped down from this position, but we previously had a role as a director of art, like an artistic director. And he is a Halo Combat Evolved purist. And then, I've always sort of noticed, playing Halo Combat Evolved, it's probably just an effect of like the outdated lighting system and what, like, the old graphics and everything. But, under a certain light, things definitely look like they have some sort of outline around them. And then one day he said something to me about it. And I was like, yeah, I've always noticed that too. Like, if you look at things in Halo 1 at a specific light, it kind of looks cel-shaded in its own right. And then we were just like, what if we tried something with that? Like, what if we, that's definitely not intentional, but it's there. Why don't we take that and run with it? And then we started comparing it to Halo 2 and stuff. And then we noticed the Halo 2 E3 trailer. It had some of the same elements, it had more realistic, texturing and whatnot, but it still had the sort of outlines around objects and under certain lights and everything. And so, that was a big inspiration for why we went with that style.
Okay.
It's, in both of those examples, it's really not to the same degree that we plan to do it, but yeah, we're definitely, turning it up to 11 kind of. But yeah, that's where the idea came from.
Okay, interesting. I hadn't really noticed that before, so might have to go and check that out, or if you have some specific lighting situation or screenshots to share, that'd be interesting to see that. 'Cause I don't know if I've ever seen that or noticed it before, I guess.
A lot of people don't, and they say I'm crazy when I tell them.
Because
I probably just haven't paid that much attention to it. I'm too busy shooting grunts.
and not getting killed by the flood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that. I'll have to. Yeah, share that with me if you can, because I'd be interested to go and actually try to find that myself. So, how long has the project been in development?
So it technically started around October 2017.
Okay, so still fairly recent.
Yeah, that's when we first started drawing up concept art and, making some very early block out models and things like that. Although the project itself does have a longer history than that. Before I even started putting together any sort of team to work on it, it went through several iterations during pre-production. Here's a fun fact for you. It's called Project Autumn because the original idea for the game I wanted to make was an open world remix of Halo Combat Evolved, in which the whole entire game took place on a circumnavigatable Halo ring, and the Pillar of Autumn was the central hub that you would return to change your gear and whatnot. And from there, it had a few different ideas. It went from that to a more story-driven experience And then at one point we wanted to try to do an MMO. And then I had a few different iterations. And then we finally settled on, like a Battle Royale plus.
Okay. Is Battle Royale kind of the... I know you guys mentioned that there's going to be the main focus of the core Halo experience, so I'm assuming like core multiplayer as far as Slayer, Capture the Flag, that kind of stuff. But outside of that, is Battle Royale, is that pretty much the primary focus for the project?
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely putting all of our intention into that first, because essentially what's going to happen is we're going to build that, and then we're going to strip away from it and make it, basically into regular Halo, and then have that as the multiplayer mode. But Battle Royale was definitely the defining idea when we went into starting it, and it's what we're currently working on developing at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else to add to that at this very moment.
Gotcha. I mean, Battle Royale does kind of play into that MMO style thing, and I guess the whole like circumnavigating a Halo ring, you get that big battlefield type of mentality as well. So I can kind of see where some of that drives towards some of the underlying pieces that contribute to a Battle Royale mode.
100%.
Should probably mention that the ring is no longer completely circumnavigatable. That was cut with the old idea, but we do have plans to, maybe try something like that for a Forge world. A Forge world that you can just keep going forward and end up at the same place you started. But those are just ideas at the moment.
Sure. No, that makes sense. For the most part, with the way that development has taken place, has a lot of stuff. I know you mentioned kind of the mindset has changed, but has the art direction changed with that? Has audio direction changed, or has that been kind of consistent throughout, kind of deciding what the game is eventually going to be?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, we really didn't know what we wanted in terms of art. The only general guidelines that we had in place was make it like Halo 2 and 3. Make it look and sound like Halo 2 and 3. And then as time went on, we started to take inspirations from other things. And the cell shading part was only decided upon a couple months ago. So at first we were going to go for the more realistic look. And the audio style has pretty much remained, the same. We make everything from scratch, it goes without saying, but we really want it to sound familiar. We want to make the weapons sound correct. All the menu sounds, all the little clicks and dings and everything you hear when you're just flicking through the menus.
Sure.
When it comes to music, that's, sort of Nate's realm, but I help him out a little bit with it and, just trying to steer the direction and keep everything kind of cohesive. He is one of the most talented composers I've ever met, actually.
Thank you, man.
And
appreciate that.
I love working with you, just so you know that. But he can agree with me that what we do with the music is sort of a reflection for what we do with everything else in the game. So I can't remember where I heard this, but there's this rule that we've always kind of followed called the rule of 33s.
Rule of thirds.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's like 33% old, 33% new, and 33% original.
Yeah,
And
that
anyways,
ratio, I was going to say that ratio applies to everything that we do. So like Iowa touched on, our art direction, again, has that little bit of an old edge, but again, we're putting that new spin on it with the cell shading and kind of a more like grimy aesthetic. The sound effects, the same thing. Covenant weapons will have that distinctive, light pew pew high sound effect that everyone knows, while UNSC is more beefy and kind of bassy and booming. And the same thing with music. You're still going to have elements of Halos 1, 2, and 3, but you're also going to have a lot of elements from even the spin-off games like Spartan Assault and Spartan Strike, really taking in influences from everything within the Halo world, the Halo universe, the mythos, and adding our own flavors to it and just making our own Frankenstein, our own little beast of a Halo fan game.
Nothing's off the table.
Yeah.
No.
Anything can go.
Yeah. We actually do take a ton of inspiration from Halo 4 and 5. Don't think we exclude that because we're some kind of, Bungie era purists. We take a lot of inspiration from Halo 4 and 5, both with gameplay mechanics, visual design, but music especially. I think Nate and I kind of agree that Halo 4 has one of our favorite soundtracks from the series. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I know you didn't. We're kind of on a tangent here, so I'm sorry. So I'll try to keep this brief.
No, you're fine.
Halo 4's use of
I'm bad about
leitmotifs. It's okay. Halo 4's use of leitmotifs and the themes and having that big bombastic sound effects, or sorry, that big bombastic soundscape is something that we really try to bring to Project Autumn. So having, so you'll hear different melodies being used, just like Marty and Michael did with the original Halo trilogy. You'll be hearing different leitmotifs for certain things being used in pieces. You'll hear elements from the original Halo games in some of our songs, and you'll hear new leitmotifs that we've written and that we've composed, and you'll hear kind of a nice little amalgamation of old and new in terms of music, at least.
Okay.
And with everything in the game.
Do you have a lot of, other than obviously inspiration from the existing music, do you have a lot of inspiration from just kind of stuff that you do day to day, or things in your environment, or where do you draw inspiration to kind of come up with your original 1/3 within the music side of things?
So my musical background is kind of weird. I'm into literally every genre of music. I listen to metal, listen to hard rock, pop, country, anything.
I think a few other audio people that we found this show before have mentioned something like that, where their audio tastes are just an odd smorgasbord or weird subset of different genres of music or something like that.
Yeah, everything and anything and everything. And so one thing that Iowa actually approached me about when I first joined was adding more of the Halo 2 and Halo Reach rock elements into the sound. And I thought that was kind of unique because across the Halo fan game landscape, from what I understand, there's not too many rock tracks out there, at least that I know of. And so that was a...
Halo 1, there was some, I think. But yeah, since then, not many.
Yeah. And so we kind of wanted to bring that element back into Halo, and drawing inspiration from me personally, I love Destiny. Destiny is probably one of my favorite video game franchises of all time in terms of music. Just that fantasy element, that magical, mystical element. Same with Lord of the Rings, and bringing in that big bombastic sound that you hear from those soundtracks, just using the fullness of the orchestra, every single instrument doing something amazing, something unique, and working together as a whole. Kind of, it's like arranging a puzzle piece, all these little pieces doing different things that make up this whole, and bringing that into the familiar Halo sound, which is, the drums, the taikos, the cellos, and the choirs.
Okay.
For me, I'm really not, much of a musician myself, but I do cooperate with Nate on a lot of the tracks that he writes. I also handle like 90% of the ambient music that's going to be in the game. So, things you don't really hear as much. But a lot of the inspiration that I draw from it is actually from, I feel funny saying this, but like J-rock, like Japanese rock and instrumental, like progressive stuff like that, all guitar and everything. I guess the more Western equivalent would be stuff like Steve Vai or Joe Satriani. Also, a lot of, I feel weird saying this too, but a lot of anime music, Inuyasha and stuff like that.
Okay.
I draw a lot of inspiration from that for the original sounds that I sort of pitch.
Okay. Interesting. I'm not familiar with those artists, but I'll take your word on it.
They're cool.
Okay. I'll take your word for it, like I said.
I'm actually surprised because Steve Vai did the guitars.
Well, I know Steve Vai, but some of the other ones though are a little bit outside of my realm of awareness. Yeah. Steve Vai is probably the
Dust
only one.
isn't as eclectic as most people.
No. No, I'm not. I will happily admit that I'm not.
That's okay. That's okay.
So, well, is there any other thing that's you're kind of focusing on right now in the development of the game? I know you said that you're kind of while we were on break, you're kind of getting to a point where you're ready to start showcasing some stuff. So, is it? I know there's been a lot of stuff in the Discord as far as kind of models, and there's other things within your latest recruitment videos that's showing models. But are you kind of working on the polishing of the models right now? Are you working on the map or some of the other kind of more meta aesthetic or ambiance types of the game? What's kind of the main focus right now on the project?
All right, so during our sort of dead period, we really focused on music, which is, from what I understand, really alien because a lot of soundtrack work for most games comes at the very end. But I do feel like because of our position of not having a campaign yet, like I said, we plan on doing a Spartan Ops style campaign post-launch. As of right now, we can really just play around with the sound that's going to build the essence of the game. But, a lot more recently, we have also been polishing a lot of models and replacing old assets because they were not good. And we found some better artists. And, we're really just getting things polished, and we've been making leaps and bounds with the technical side, programming and everything in Engine. It's made in Unreal Engine 4, by the way. We found some great programmers that get things done, and they know what they're doing. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's all just kind of happening right now.
So basically, to add on to that and just to kind of summarize, what we've been doing is we've been, like Iowa said, we've been remaking all the old models and stuff like that, polishing up the best we can, making sure that everything is up to this new bar that we set for ourselves. And then we've also started working on like the initial gameplay phase, if you will. So like putting objects in the game and all that good stuff, and starting with melee animations and all that fun stuff that I don't know anything about because I'm just a music person.
How far along would you guys say the game is as far as completing a releasable build? Because I know there's some other projects that have been under development for 4 years, 6 years, and they're still like 2, 3, 4 years out before they're probably considering being done.
This is kind of a roundabout answer, but we can't at this point. We don't have a definitive answer as like to answer when.
Yeah.
But with the progress we've been making so much, like a steady, consistent stream of progress. And so it's safe to say that we will have a definitive answer in terms of when the release date is very, very soon, as long as our progress continues. And with the way it's going, we may have something very, very exciting and very, very big happening very, very soon.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Geez, tease much?
If we continue at the rate we're working right now, don't quote me on this, but I'd personally be very surprised if we didn't have some sort of closed beta at least by, next Christmas.
As in Christmas 2021?
2020.
Oh, okay. It's coming Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, don't put me on the record for saying that, but just from what I've seen, what I've seen, continuing at the rate we are, if we don't have any more slow periods, we're definitely going to be around the area where we have a product that's not very polished, but it's playable.
Very nice.
Like we were talking about when we were on intermission, because we have, a dedicated group of people, and we've been so organized, and we've been making good progress and at a steady, consistent rate. I think things will happen. I think people should definitely stay tuned because we're going to be showing off some really, really cool stuff.
Cool. Looking forward to it. I'm assuming there's going to be there's not Outpost again this year, and E3's been changed to
virus.
A digital virus. Infected.
Oh God, no.
So is it?
I'm telling you, the virus.
So is there going to be another like kind of trailer that you're going to look at putting out, or are you just going to kind of look at doing something like regular updates, or is that something a little too early that you don't want to talk about yet?
Well, I think we definitely want to start with the more consistent updates. Getting on social media was a big step for us because before we didn't have a Twitter or a Facebook or anything. So just taking that step and establishing ourselves there means that we can now use those platforms to show off screenshots, hopefully provide weekly or bi-weekly updates. And who knows, we'll definitely consider all of our options in terms of making a trailer, showing off certain hush-hush elements.
All the juicy details.
Yes, the juicy details.
The next huge milestone that I would like to hit personally is to have an actual website. In terms of marketing, I'd like to have a website done some point soon. The trailer that was shown at Outpost Discovery is definitely getting a dedicated remake. 100%. Once we get all the stuff we need, we're not going to rush it this time.
Did we show that off? I guess we did, because we were the only panel. So yeah, I guess we showed that off. I totally forgot about that. I remember seeing it. I guess I forgot that we were the one that showed it off.
I was supposed to be there, but I couldn't make it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have a couple trailers to show off different aspects of the game. I personally want to have a trailer fully dedicated to customization because, let me tell you, it's going to be wild. There's nothing like it in any other Halo game. Or any other fan game for that matter. You can quote me on that.
Okay. Is it akin to kind of the Reach customization style, or is it that on steroids? Can't tell. Can't say yet.
Well, it's definitely a new thing, but it is sort of geared towards Reach and Halo 4 in a way. But I don't want to give away too much. But
okay.
Yeah, it's one of the best. I don't say that about my own work a lot, but yeah, we're putting so much thought into it. And that's always been one of my personal favorite aspects of the Halo series. So we're definitely going to go all out with it.
Very nice. Well, I know that's a tall order, and Halo players like their customization.
Yes, they do.
They like their identity within the game, especially multiplayer.
Definitely.
Yes.
And that's why we definitely made it a priority to satisfy those who want to look cool.
There you go.
Plain and simple.
How big is the project as far as the number of, I guess the easiest way to quantify would be maps at this point that you would want to support?
So for Battle Royale, we plan to have at least 3 maps at launch. And it's actually kind of interesting the way we're doing it because, so take, for example, the first map that we plan to finish, which is set on a Halo ring. The visual style is very reminiscent of Forge World and early levels from Halo 1, the Halo ring setting. And so essentially what we've done, the way we're structuring the Battle Royale maps is that it's scattered with maps you already know from previous Halo, not only multiplayer maps, but also campaign maps. And we're sort of dotting them around and, changing up the way they look aesthetically. But, yeah, it's a bunch of classic maps spread across this big space, conjoined in between with new areas that we're creating just for it. And the way I think it's going to work is that in multiplayer, like classic multiplayer mode, we're going to cut those little pieces out and just sort of, isolate them and use those as our maps per se.
Okay.
So yeah, we want to have one set on the Halo ring. We want to have one set in the city of New Mombasa, and we want to have one set on Reach to start. We do plan on adding more.
Very nice. 3 maps to start out with Battle Royale is not bad. How about the other normal Halo game modes like Slayer, Capture the Flag, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, like I said, for those, we're just going to sort of take the ones that are in the Battle Royale maps and just sort of cut them out and, use those.
But does that break down to like 4 per Battle Royale map into
Oh, no, there's like 20 on each Battle Royale map.
Yeah, I didn't know like how many you were thinking of like taking out of the Battle Royale map into that kind of...
I should have clarified that, but yeah. There's definitely not going to be a lack of maps. And then we are doing our own original maps as well, both dotted around the Battle Royale ones. And also we are thinking of having, just like separate multiplayer only maps that aren't from one of the Battle Royale ones. One of the cool idea that someone pitched earlier was having a map set on like a broken chunk of a Halo ring that's sort of floating off into space. So that would be kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah. It would definitely be, I guess, not necessarily in line with kind of some of the other Halo maps, but it kind of, I don't know, for some reason it feels kind of along that line of it's a little out there, but it still fits within kind of what you might see a Halo map on type of thing, I guess. Does that make sense? All right, cool. GT, you have any questions? I'm just kind of running the show over here.
Actually, I was kind of curious. What actually brought you into wanting to build your own game? I mean, what inspired you to actually get into this field?
That is a pretty good question. You want me to open with it, or do you want to say anything?
Go right ahead. Whoever wants to jump in first.
I'll let you go first. My story's probably a lot shorter than yours.
Okay. So my first exposure to any of this was the fan game Installation 01. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
We are very familiar.
Yeah, I was just scrolling through YouTube one day and I saw a video about it by Classy Ham, I think. And I was just like, wow, that's cool. I love Halo. And this is just some people making a Halo. At that point, I had always wanted to get into game development, but I never really had started my journey yet. It was just a bunch of, filling notebooks with ideas for games I want to do one day. But I joined their Discord, and I was just like, these are just a bunch of normal people making a game. What? I want to do that.
Yeah.
So I could not make it onto the IO1 team. I met some people there, and we eventually started working on another Halo fan game called Coral, which I know you're aware of as well.
Yep.
And so Coral was the first video game I ever worked on. At a certain point, I realized that they weren't really doing what I wanted for a Halo game. I became less passionate about it. After a while, they just wanted different things from it. So I kind of splintered off and started Project Autumn. But we didn't start working on it until a while. Like I said, there's a bunch of different iterations in the pre-production phase. But back on topic, I did kind of go off topic a little bit there. The reason I want to is because I want to see things done in Halo that probably will never be done in Halo. I have these ideas, and I have this drive to make them real. I want to see them happen. I want to play it for myself. That's one of the big reasons, just knowing that we're never going to get a lot of what we want to do in any official Halo game is kind of what drives the thought behind it. I can't remember where I heard this from, but it was the head of 343 said something. I can't remember the full quote, but it was something along the lines of, who would ever want to make a Halo game? Because the fans don't even know what they want. You have all these people thinking that they know what's best for the game, and they're going to try to steer you in the right direction and sort of push and pull, and they don't even know what they want, the fans. So, why would you ever want to put yourself in that position? And the more I think about it, the more I don't really know why. But it definitely is just the fact that there are things that will never be in Halo that I want to see done in Halo. yeah, essentially it's just to, appease myself and like-minded people.
That's not a bad response. I mean, that's
that's a good reason.
yeah. It's a pure motivation too. You're not necessarily trying to please anyone else or trying to get the recognition. You're wanting to do it because you want to do something that has been done or might not be done.
Oh yeah,
No, I
definitely.
think that's
Like a lot of people say, like, well, why don't you just work on an original IP? Make some money off of it. I'm like, well, then this will never happen.
yeah.
Well, I mean, this could be a good stepping stone to move to, independent IP.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and
I think we have a few team members who definitely want to go into the video game industry, when they're done with Project Autumn, and they use this kind of as a portfolio tool because they love Halo so much and they want to work on a franchise that they love, right? Even though it's unofficial, they just want to create something in that universe that they're invested in and that they love. And hopefully that allows them to gain some recognition by, indie devs or, development studios out and wherever. And hopefully that kind of leads to something bigger and greater for them.
Very cool.
yeah, I can honestly say that if nobody plays this game when it's done, I'll still be happy because I can play it. It's just something that I want to play.
Well, and if you look at the time that Bungie spent on making Halo, they wanted to make Halo because they wanted a game they wanted to play. So it all kind of starts with that.
Well, that's how every video game starts.
Yeah.
There's a game that somebody wants to play. It's got to come out of somebody's head.
Yes.
And it's just a matter of developing it.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my friend were having a talk the other day, and there's someone who isn't really into game development or anything like that. They're what we would call a normie. And they're like, so what's your motivation for wanting to work on stuff like that? And essentially the best way I could describe it to them was like, when you really want to play this game that you have, and it's like all you have on your mind, and you're like, oh, when I get home today, I just want to kick back and play some of this. And then I was like, imagine if that game didn't exist quite yet. And that's like me with like 7 games that don't exist yet. And all I want to do is sit back and play it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can relate to it, not in the game genre. I'm more of I'm a gearhead. Don't get me wrong. I play video games for fun and I enjoy them. I really enjoy the Halo series. That's why I'm here. But at heart, I'm a gearhead. I like tinkering with cars. And no matter what I do, I can't really go out and buy the car that I want, because no car that's been produced by any of the manufacturers has the set of options that I want. It doesn't have the exact things that I want. So I have to go out and basically find something that has some of the things I want, and then I need to customize it to be what I want. So I'm making my own game. In this case, it's my own car. So, I can understand, where you're coming from that.
Yeah, it's just having this itch that you need to scratch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Well, thank you guys for talking about the game a little bit. Like you guys said, you're looking to release more information out throughout the coming months, and we hope to have you on again when you're filling up for it and have a lot more to talk about, some more stuff to showcase. Where can people find your stuff?
As of right now, it's just our Discord server, and we just made a Twitter account that has nothing on it yet. I've actually been trying to get a dedicated person to sort of manage all of our social media things, because I'm not one of the hip kids. I don't do any of that. I forget they exist.
What is this Twitters you speak of?
What is this tweet face?
What
are the kids into nowadays?
What's that, tweet book? Is that what tweet that was?
That's a good one. Yeah, so they have a Twitter. The new one is Project Autumn 01. The actual letter O, not
I don't know 0. Why. I don't even remember making that account.
It's there.
Hey, it exists. Yeah. You're stuck with it now. Oh.
And then do you guys have your own personal stuff that you want to share?
No.
Yeah, I do actually. So I'll Nathan Langlois Music. So that's NATHANLANGLOIS Music. That's where you can find all the stuff that I do, whether it's related to Project Autumn or otherwise. And if you follow me, you may or may not hear some sneak peeks from the soundtrack from time to time. And yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Very nice.
Oh, and yeah, we also have a project YouTube channel. I forgot to mention, but it doesn't really have much on it yet.
Yeah. You mentioned, though, that you had the recruitment video. I guess one more thing before we move on to our very last topic of the show is what kind of positions are you looking to fill on the team?
Pretty much any at the moment. We're looking for artists, 2D, concept, 3D artists, texture artists, people well-versed in Unreal Engine 4, the way it works, and how to program and everything. Yeah, stuff like that. Just sort of, not really grunt work, but, the more hands-on stuff.
Okay. Very nice. And people just find that in the Discord server?
Yeah.
Okay. So go find, I guess, one of their YouTube videos, and I guess that's where a Discord server link will be. Maybe in the Twitter eventually.
We
Yes,
have a couple tracks. We have a couple tracks from the soundtrack on YouTube already, and they also contain links to our Discord as well.
Okay. Very nice. Okay, our last topic of the evening is we put out a poll this week on Tuesday. So we did the weapons a couple weeks ago, and I flubbed that one a little bit with the Covenant weapons. Sorry about that. But we're going to be breaking these up into factions just because of the sheer amount of votes that we got from the first one. So hopefully this will split it up a little bit. We're doing UNSC vehicles for today. So we've got the following options for people to choose from. We've got the Warthog, we've got the tank, the Mongoose, the Hornet, the Elephant, the Pelican, the Longsword, the Falcon, the Saber, the Broadsword, the Mantis, and the Wasp. So all these are the vehicles that we have seen navigatable or flyable within the first-person shooter games, whether they're actually drivable in person or in cutscene. So before we get into the social media answers, GT, what's your favorite vehicle from this list?
The tank. Of course.
Of course. Mine too.
The tank beats everything.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you. Nate, are you on the same page?
absolutely. I was just about to say that tank beats everything. 100%.
Iowa, don't ruin the streak here.
Oh no.
I've always been a Warthog purist.
I can respect that. OG Warthog. Yeah, I can appreciate that. So, okay, cool. So we'll start off on Facebook. We've got Misa Red over there. She said this is a hard one to pick, but she's going to pick the tank. Just rolling out in it, the sounds and the power of the tank. It's good all around. And Regina Ryan also says, tank beats everything.
Mm-hmm.
More for the tank. Tank love right there. Matt Vandy Zandy on Facebook, he says, the Falcon, easy. Flying it in multiplayer was always exhilarating, and pulling off those perfect touch and go moves felt so buttery smooth. I was very disappointed when it wasn't brought to Halo 5 with the Memories of Reach update. Lord Relay and Twitch also says the Hannibal Scorpion. So one thing to note with these polls too, I'm just saying like the base model of the vehicles, because if I were to put every variant in there, the poll would get crazy. So just kind of doing the base variant of all the different vehicles. But yeah, we got a Scorpion in the chat.
It's still a tank. It's still a tank. It qualifies.
It's still a tank. Yes, I think we know what the winner's going to be before we even get through the majority of these votes. If there's anyone else in chat too that wants to drop their answers or responses in here, go ahead and do that as we wrap things up. Penn's Halo also says tank. He says, because tank. And then he attaches a GIF of a tank sliding on ice, drifting around a hairpin curve. Nice touch, Pins. Nice. Squally the Beans. He says he loves his big mechie boy, Mantis. So we've got a Mantis from one of the 343 devs. American Patriot says, I don't see Warhog or Scorpion anywhere, which they were in there. I don't know. I made sure that we're all in there this time. But other than that, he said the longsword. Brian Everett, or Brian's Bane. Oh, our friends over at Sacred Icon Halo. He says it's got to be the Warthog for him. There's no Halo without the Warthog. It's a brilliantly iconic vehicle. Yep. Spartan Shatter says Warthog for functionality and because there are so many memories. And then he also says the elephant because he loves flipping it. Press X to flip. Wait, what? How'd you do that? Evanator _26 or PlumGecko8016 on Twitter. He says, why does the Warthog want my credit card every time I get it? I'm not sure if that's a reference to something or what, but chalk one up to the Warthog, I guess. I don't know.
I'm a little more confused as to why there are 6 pedals if there's only 4 directions. Wait, no, I got that backwards. Why are there only 4 pedals if there are 6 directions?
Let's see. Hayden McManus, he says the Warthog because nothing beats drifting a hog. Daft Dude says tank because tank beats everything. It's just Pro Talk. I'm not sure if this is Josh or Will, but this is most likely Josh. He says the tank for sake of reality, the elephant for sake of comedy. Lane Thomas, he says the Warthog for him. The drifting and fishtailing around the Warthog is just so fun and satisfying. His second choice would be the Falcon. Striker _P28, he says the elephant. Ace of Spades card, he says the Warthog. Lots of others are more powerful, but for the UNSC, in terms of getting road kills, there's no other than Old Wardy.
Road trip!
Yep. He loves splattering. Cold.
Favorite metal in Reach, by the way.
It's got a pretty good sound effect to it, too.
I wish they'd have brought it back in Halo 5.
I hope they add some pretty cool ones for Infinite. That'd be nice. Actually, I'm going to write that down as one of my ideas. Thank you, GT.
You mean one of my ideas you're going to take credit for
I'll
again?
give you credit. I give you credit on the last one.
Sure. Is that what you call that?
Yes. Don't you say I'm not giving you credit. At ColeD117 says, it's a toss-up for him between the saber and the broadsword. He loves the sequences because it reminds him of Star Wars Rogue Squadron gameplay, but he loves the Mantis because it evokes Mech Warrior vibes.
Definitely going to have to dig out that controller. Keep going.
I tagged you in a tweet about Mech Warrior at some point last week. I forget what it was about.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. At Jordan Cup 77, he says the Warthog. Strafe _Rebel, he says Longsword. Longsword is a wonderful vehicle. Fire Dolphin 3, he says the Falcon. So there's another one for the Falcon. I think the Falcon's going to take that 3rd spot. Literally the best and most fun vehicle. Patman Gaming also says the Falcon, along with Halo Freak 50.
The Falcon was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. It was good in Reach, especially with having the side turrets.
Especially when you line that rocket up just right.
Yeah. Whee! Those are always fun to watch. See how they kind of just thread the needle right through the bay of the Falcon.
I know.
Makes for some great just moments of like, I missed. Great memories. Reach might have been gray as heck for Forge, but there was a lot of fun memories and just modes that you could do with it. It was a good time. It was a really good time. Aggressor Sentinel on Twitter, he says the Pelican. That's the first Pelican that we've seen. Pelican or nothing. And we actually have one more Pelican down here from Loosed Cannon. He says, nobody can take that beauty of an aircraft away from me. There you go. SHST Sunner, guessing that's how I say it. He says the Scorpion is his favorite. The Scorpion is a powerful all-terrain tank and the best answer for most Covenant vehicles. No lie. No lie. And then we've got one for the Wasp. This one from Super Scrungus. It says the Wasp because it plays like actual butter. Yeah, and it's paper thin. It gets melted as easily as butter.
Hey, there's some people out there that can do some work with a Wasp. I know because I've been on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, it's true.
I remember when that was like the meta in Warzone, when everyone would grab a Wasp at rec level 3, and it was just the biggest nightmare if you were on foot.
Yeah,
you're just getting spawn killed by Wasps over and over and over again. Oh my gosh.
They're 4s now, right?
I believe so.
The 4s, yeah.
Yeah, they went up a level.
And then there's one random comment in here. He says, this is Radical 195's. Buy the Warthog DLC for $9.99. Not sure where that came from, but that was a comment that we had. So I think the first place was the tank. Second place was the Warthog. Third place was the Falcon. And our little...
Not that we're counting.
No.
Because we really aren't.
So we'll have a new poll out next week. This will be Covenant vehicles for next week. And there's some interesting ones in here. We've got the Spectre from Halo 2. We've got the...
Yeah, that one's a little bit of a harder pick.
Yeah. I have a feeling this one's going to be a little more varied than the UNSC one. We've got the Seraph Fighters from Reach. Those are kind of the two odd ones that stand out to me. But yeah, so look forward to that poll coming out next week. Also next week on the show, we're going to be having the folks from the Finish the Fight podcast on the show. And our topic of discussion is going to be I Love Bees. I don't think they've done that yet. So this might be a little pre-warm up for them to do I Love Bees, or they may have done some research already. And I've listened to some of it already. I'm probably actually going to restart listening to it from the beginning. And we'll talk about it kind of similarly how we talk about books, kind of just talk about the overall narrative of the stories within the episodes of I Love Bees. And if you can't find it out there, I know there's an entry on Halopedia, and there might be some download links for the audio somewhere. If we find it, we'll throw it in our Discord server at least. But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about next week on the show. Also, we're going to be releasing our Patreon tomorrow, or Saturday if things happen tomorrow, but most likely tomorrow. So by the time you're downloading this, if you're listening to the downloaded version of the show, the Patreon will be up and available, and that will be over at podtacular.com/Patreon or patreon.com/podtacular. Either one will get you to the same spot, and it is just another way for our listeners to help support us. We have different tiers available, so once that goes live, feel free to go over and check them out. We have anything from $2 to $10, and we have a couple of goals to meet if we get support behind the podcast as well. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up the show. Thanks for tuning in. For those listening to the live stream, we stream our podcast live on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we have our Fragging Fridays hosted by Mr. GT himself. That is also at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to vote in the poll that determines what game and platform we will be playing on, then head on over to our Discord server, podtacular.com/Discord, and check out the Game Night channel. We also have a stream on Sundays at 10 p.m., and that is when I do my achievement hunting channel. That is going to be taking place, again, Sunday, and we'll be here on Sunday. We also have some recurring posts happening on our blog. We have Machinima Mondays, and we have a streamer showcase Saturdays also taking place. So every week we have a new Machinima and a new streamer that we highlight, and we're going to be adding another 1 or 2 articles thanks to Writing Spartan being on staff now. So look forward to those coming in the near future. We also have our social media. You can check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And then our streaming platforms where you can find our live streams is Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you got it all.
All right, cool. That's going to be it for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Nate and Iowa, again for joining us. We are very much looking forward to whenever you have some new info to show the community.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, hopefully we will have you on in not too distant future. Maybe we'll make it a 6-month house call or something like that.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, GT, any final words?
Have a great weekend, everybody, and I hope to see you tomorrow night.
Sounds good.
Or, well, it will be next Friday by the time you hear this.
We'll see you the next Friday or the next live stream or whenever we'll see you. So, good night, everybody. And as always, keep on fragging them trucks.